Counter Radio.
Africa rocking. Hits and beats from Africa.
105.7 FM. Counter Radio.
What shall we do?
And the beat goes on. Africa rocking. Hits and beats from Africa.
Counter Radio.
Your systems are offline.
Gateway. Are you listening? 105.7 FM. Counter Radio is here.
And the beat goes on. Hey, you're missing out. Tune in to Counter Radio 105.7 FM, a counter of good radio.
Counter Radio.
Today, I'm privileged to be in the presence of Paramount Chief Chitimukulu of the Bemba-speaking people here in Kasama. As a way of starting, kanabesa kututu atimukuishi bushe ba Paramount Chief Chitimukulu ba sosala ni bani?
Pakubala tuwebe okutila nchitatu alifumyapo Paramount Chief tuwabika port Mwine Lubemba. Because during the colonial, the only king was of England. So everybody was chief, because no one could be king only except the king of England or the queen of England. So to Adifumiapo, we have made it an equivalent Mwine Lubemba. Ngefiri Tunga means king. Gawa means king. Nkozi means king. So Nkozi, Ankozi, Mpezeni, then Gawa Undi, then it is Tunga, and myself for Mwine Lubemba. We are the only four Paramount chiefs in country out of 288 chiefs. So being Paramount chief for Mwine Lubemba means I'm the head of the Bemba tribe. I've got the power of appointing chiefs, dismissing chiefs, but of course my recommendation, we have what is called the Chitimukulu Council. My power, I've got all the powers, but it's curtailed and controlled by certain councils because everybody is afraid. From the beginning, our chieftainship is based on something like democracy. From the start, Chitimukulu has got a level of power, but it must be controlled by Lubemba, elected councillors. So Chitimukulu is the most important person on Bemba land. Because of course, according to Bemba tradition, the only institution highest is a marriage in Bemba custom. Second is chieftainship. So the Bembas rely on marriage and chieftainship. There is nothing else.
Why is it like that?
Why? Because the family is critical in life. You need a family, and the family, that's society. As long as the family is all right, then society can be all right. Now, to the respect of the chiefs, because the chiefs control everything, the way people live, and they have got supernatural powers of prayer and so forth. That's why they are second to marriage.
That sounds very interesting, because we never knew that concept before, because everyone thought that chieftainship is actually the highest authority. Then comes, families, as you have put it. But now this is a new thing that we have learned today. Now, let us go back to the family setup of a typical Bemba family. What does it consist of? Is it a nucleus family, or we're also talking about an extended family?
No, it's usually in Africa is extended. It's extended family. And very interesting, when I went to America, they had discovered that there is more crime among black Africans, black Americans. Now they were trying to find why. Then they came to say, our ancestors were educated and so forth. So they came to realize that in the nucleus family, you only help your own members of the family, but they don't help their nephews and so forth. So they have started a new concept of extended family, where now they want to be helping those cousins, children, so that, they can limit crime, because crime is mainly because people are not going to school. So the Bemba culture is extremely extensional. Even it goes so far that in the village, when it comes during the 40s and 50s, if a man comes back home from corporate, he must give some sort to every member of the village as appreciation of where he comes from. The villagers build him. So extension of family is very, very critical in Bemba culture. And in fact, now it's just because things are turning. We used to have, now it's very difficult. When the father, the parents die, usually what we used to do was the children could go to they call it the uncle now, to the uncles. The children are getting to know each other in the family. So even when there's a death, they just normally go and fit into the family. But they have never met, they have never gone, and then they go into a new family. So these things is becoming very, very, very difficult with the orphans.
That's interesting. Let us look at chieftainship. Is it matrilineal or patrilineal in the Bemba land?
It's matrilineal because it comes very far. It comes matrilineal. Where it's matrilineal, we seem to be coming from the Jews.
So the Bembas inherited this tradition of picking chiefs from the matrilineal line because of the Jews' influence.
Yes, because our ancestor Mumbi Mukasa. It's a long history. Because if you remember, I think in the Kings where the Queen of Sheba came to Israel. So Solomon as usual had a child from there. Then we have got the Jews in Ethiopia, where even Emperor Haile Selassie, if you remember, the Lion of Judah. So we even have, previous when I went to Israel, I found that they have taken some Egyptian Jews there working in Israel. So there was some confusion as usual in Ethiopia. Then some people left. They came on Lake Tanganyika. So they go to offshore, they found the Mambo and the Lungu. So the Lungu had they hadn't anything like rulership, kings, chiefs, and so forth. So those foreigners were ruling the people. Now our ancestor Mumbi Mukasa might have committed a certain crime. Now that crime, she was supposed to be sentenced to death. But usually with royal family, royal blood, you cannot. So she was told they were told to go somewhere and leave her alone so that anything would happen. Then she happened to be picked up by members of Mukurumpe who married and then they got those children. Now when they left, they had to pick that sister because of matrino, the blood. They had to keep the blood of Mumbi Mukasa. That's how we have come to be matrino. We're the only matrino from people from Mwatiambu. We are all the matrino. I think we are the only matrino group.
Let us get to understanding who ascends to the throne of Chitimukulu. What sort of a person should that person be?
There must be sister of Chitimukulu on the matrino side. And anyway, let's say, usually because it's so competitive, we had so many. That's so competitive. So that's why we have got two houses now. Chandamukulu, the Queen Mothers, Chandamukulu and Mukukamfu. Of course, we have got the third house, Mushimba. But many there are two houses, Chandamukulu and Mukukamfu.
Which one do you come from?
Chandamukulu. That's the most senior Queen Mother. So Chandamukulu, they have got to come, because you don't just ascend it to Chitimukulu. No. You first start from being in Pepo. Chief Mpepo in Pika district. Then you can come to be Chief Nkolemfumu. Then Chief Mwamba. Then the other side, they have got to start as Chief Chikwanda. Then they come to Chief Nkula. Then it ends there. Then Chitimukulu is open. Mwamba can't say because Mwamba will be Chitimukulu. No. Nkula can't say because those are the next. They are Senior Chief Mwamba and Senior Chief Nkula. Those are very, very powerful. But you can't say because I'm Chief Nkula, Senior Chief Nkula will be in Chitimukulu. Because I'm Senior Chief Mwamba. There now character comes in. There now they have got to look because they need somebody to be powerful, intelligent, very courageous, to take on the tasks of the Bemba. There now is the choice of, incidentally, the group of hereditary councillors by Lubemba, who choose chiefs. Chiefs are not chosen by chiefs. So what happens when they want Chitimukulu dies, there is 1 year where it's got to be embalmed and so forth. So what happened during that period, Chimba, Sub-Chief Chimba, is the one with the hereditary councils. There are 12. They are the people who take control, charge of the country, of the affairs of the Bemba tribe. So after 1 year, they bury the late chief. Then those sit themselves without any chief. The Bashirumba themselves choose the paramount chief. And when they choose him, he becomes now the chairman. What is now called the Chitimukulu Council. Every decision now has got to come through what is called Chitimukulu Council. But it's competitive. Now what we have is we have got 12. Because all Bashirumba the council, there are 72 different functions. Now 12 appoint the Chitimukulu. Now when they appoint the Chitimukulu, those are only 12. As I say, it's competitive. There might be others people who want to be Chitimukulu. There might not even be, he can be Chief Mpepo, he can be all from nowhere. So long as in the line, he's in the line. For instance, we had Chitapankwa, Chitimukulu number 36. He was working in the mines, so he became Chitimukulu, right from the mines. He didn't go through all these ladders. So there's competition. So when these 12 elect you as a Chitimukulu, there is Kalungu River there.
Yes.
You don't cross the Kalungu River. You wait for other challengers, if there are any. So they all come and camp around there. During the old days, golden days, what they used to do was, and there is a battle now, a war. But you don't bring in your warriors from outside. You organize people within the Chitimukulu chiefdom.
Okay. So it could be among the 12 that appoint the Chitimukulu, or it could be among the 72.
No. Now there is competition now. What happens is, in the old days you could fight, but now you don't cross until those 72 come in.
They cross?
No, those 72, it doesn't matter where they come from. It's the one, the one who, the Chitimukulu initially.
Yes.
The one who appointed by those 12 is the one who can't cross.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you cross, then you are entering now. You have been approved.
Wow.
So you wait there until others come. Now then these 72 come in. Then they choose from there. Even though you were chosen by the 12, the majority can come and overrule you.
Oh, so the 12 can choose, but the 72 will have to approve.
Yes.
Then now you can cross the river.
You can cross. If there are no challengers, then it's okay. You wait but you must wait for a minimum of 2 weeks.
Because in 2 weeks, anyone can come up and say, I'm challenging this.
Yes. Me, I only challenge with Sata.
We remember those stories about you and late President Sata, during your ascension to the throne. Was it challenging? Did he want to become Chitimukulu?
No, he had some malicious intentions of destroying the Bemba chieftainship. Because the one he wanted was, because Sata was a Bisa. Now he wanted someone whom he wanted was a Bisa father. So he wanted to turn everything to be ruled by the Bisa. That's the problem we had with him. Whenever we said there were the political differences earlier on when we were in UPP and so forth.
So it starts from years back, not recently. From UPP days.
Yeah. That's where it started. He thought I'm the one who caused his dismissal from UPP because I was doing strategy for the party.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at some point you worked together in the political circles.
Yes.
And then you fell apart.
Yes.
Then you became
The
political
party
enemies.
fell him apart. Then he accused me of having leaked something about him.
So all these years, you never had an opportunity, the two of you, to sit and iron out the differences.
We
that
didn't
were-
have the differences. In fact, I was supporting him very much. But when he ascended, because he knew me as a political activist, so he didn't want something of my character to be leader of the Bemba people. That was the problem. That was the main problem. He didn't want something like myself, intellectuality, and then having my political background to be the Bemba chief, paramount chief, because he knew my influence would be bad for him.
Would we say after he became president and we had those issues of him, failing to recognize you when you were appointed as Chitimukulu, would we say that this affected the Bemba royal establishment to a great extent, that it was going to destroy the foundations, the fiber of the Bemba people?
In fact, on the contrary, it strengthened us. We became consolidated. We became very, very united. In fact, it was one of the unifying factor of the Bemba people. Because, as I said, the marriage and the chieftainship. So when the Bemba people saw what was happening to me, they feared the destruction. Because every Bemba has got very much respect for the chieftainship. So that consolidated our position, and we had sympathy from everywhere. So it helped us to consolidate and to unify.
Did you have an opportunity to reconcile with him before he died?
What happened was, I think 2 weeks before he died, there was his niece who was in India. Then she came to see me, but because he had misinformed her. She was telling me, no, my uncle wants to reconcile you, but you reject. I said, no, it's just a trickster. He wants justice. Then he said, no, he even rang me before he went to die. He said, oh no, when I come back, I'll come and visit you. So I think we reconciled.
Did you trust him?
No.
You never did?
No.
Why?
Because I knew his background.
Did he trust you?
No. He was skeptical of me. Because I knew something about him, which he thought other people couldn't know. So he never trusted him, and I never trusted him.
So at the end, you were confirmed Chitimukulu, and here you are, you're still on the throne. Would we conclude that you won the battle?
Definitely. Definitely. I won the battle. Because the Bembas were against him. Most of the Bembas were against him. And that's where I saw consolidation. Because during that time, I was having more money than I'm having now. The members were contributing to me now. When I go, I must sleep in Intercontinental Pamos to show him that we are not poor. Even now, I go and sleep in Intercontinental Pamos or Ridgeway. They have maintained that, no, we shall never lower your standards. It has unified somehow our tribe under my leadership.
How does the Chitimukulu work with other, big chiefs? You did mention earlier on, the Letunga, Gawa Undi, Mpezeni, and many others. And you talked about 4 that are quite big in the country. How is your relationship with these others in unifying the people of Zambia?
We during my reign, and we said, we arranged that we should be having meetings, 4 of us. And we had some meetings. And then we drafted something which we wanted to put in Bill 10. Because we don't go to the House of Chiefs. We are bad. So we wanted to make at least to have, we as 4, to have a certain particle to be there in the government, to see how we can, when there are political problems, how we can try to unify the different political parties and to play certain roles as senior members of our tribes. So we had worked out, but Bill 10 anyway didn't go through. But anyway, we haven't met since the new Dawn government But I'll be seeing the president anyway next time. I will talk about it and see how we can arrange to meet again. When we meet as a team, then we present our views and how we want us to work with the new government.
But do you talk among the four of you? Maybe pick up the phone and talk to each other?
Every day, almost daily. Almost. It's me who talks to them every time. And they ring me, but me, I'm very constant with them.
In all honesty, a lot of people think that there's animosity between tribes and between chiefs, and the picture painted out there is that you probably don't even talk. And as a result, your subjects, do not also relate well. Please, would you clear the air for us on this one?
That's something, it was the colonial. The colonial was made it divide and rule. The colonial said, you don't like the Tongas. But when I came in, I became chief in 1997. That's the thing which the tribes were getting married. There was inter-tribe, very heavy inter-tribe marriages. If our subjects are intermarrying, why can't we talk to each other? So, and then something matured in 2002. With an NGO called the Women for Change. There was the MLS Kazwe. So she arranged in July 2002, where all the chiefs met in Mulungushi. So that's when I saw now. This is nothing, they could sit there. But me, I sat with the Tongas. And that's where I went. I started with Mukuni and so forth. They were also surprised because me, I'm mixed. So that meeting, it broke, but the second one in December, then everybody became free. That's why we attend these traditional ceremonies. All the chiefs who go to Mpeze and they come. I heard about this time, the last time I heard the highest from Southern Province, about 13 chiefs. From Southern Province.
To come for Ukusafia Pangwana?
Yeah, they came from Ukusafia. And the government did us a favor. We goes to the Air Force Commander. Because of the roads, we had asked that they fly them in. So they arranged those from other provinces to come in Lusaka, then those from the west to come in Ndola. And they brought them in.
Mwine Lubemba, are we going to see you attend the Kuomboka in the future? And are we going to see the Lutunga attend the Ukusafia Pangwana in future?
We are making those arrangements. Because we had a breakthrough, the Lutunga to go to Gawa, and the Gawa to reciprocate. We are trying to make, only this, the last time was, because we had the new president, he had to come to attend. But we shall definitely make certain arrangements. I was talk when the Lutunga is in Lusaka, and in Lusaka we meet at his house and talk. There isn't anything that that's the picture that was painted, but I think with intertribal marriages and people, mixing, people from other provinces come and stay here, and there is that fear when they are brought up tribally. They say these are bad, these are bad, these are bad. When they mix, they say, these are just fables and so forth. There is that, but anyway, the other thing which is now coming up is there is something that's coming which is not very good. Because that time we heard about Mazoka, Andrew Mazoka, was educated, he was with him at Mungu. He was our captain. The secondary school, we had 17. So people were moving from, so those he knew. And then that exposure. But now my fear is I've got, for instance, when I'm at Chitimukulu, a boy can come from grade 1 to grade 12 just at Chitimukulu. No exposure whatsoever. So what about if he goes in the first place, in the second place, he has not even seen a white man, because the missionaries now are Africans. So if he goes to Lusaka, he meets a white man, what's the reaction? And if he meets other tribes, because he has been told these are bad and these are bad. So there is something going on which is not very good at this moment. Because people are just getting education from their villages up to grade 12. So when they go to university, they will just be mixing with their tribesmen. So that's another. The only thing is we must have exposure.
How does it feel to be Chitimukulu?
Well, it's challenging, but it's great. It's a great honor to be Chitimukulu. Chitimukulu, you are the most powerful person, very powerful. So it's challenging, but you receive a lot of honors.
What are some of the challenges that you face as Chitimukulu?
Well, we have got about 17 gazetted chiefs and about 15 ungazetted chiefs. So I must see what is happening in all these chiefdoms. People come and complain about their chiefs, how they are doing and so forth. So I listen to everything. And my greatest worry, of course, is development. How are these people going to? And how, when you have got a chief assigned, how does he behave? How does he react to people? How does he treat to people? Those I've got to see and check with every chief, how he behaves and how he treats people, how he rules. So those are the things I've got to go into. And then the village headmen and so forth. How does the chief relate to the village headmen? How does the chief relate to his subjects? And the controversies, there is the antithesis which says, we have got Mwine Lubemba, elder councillors, and then we have got the Bemba royal family. So Mwine Lubemba, they represent the people against us. So if there are problems, the people can tell Mwine Lubemba. Then Mwine Lubemba come and confront me and the other chief. No, this is what when these people don't like this. And then we can dismiss a chief. In fact, we have dismissed about 3 chiefs.
In your reign?
Yeah, in my reign. In my reign. We dismissed the 3 chiefs. Because of misbehaving and so forth. When they go into bars, drink, and then you lose the integrity, the nobility of the chieftainship. So we have got that right. So those are the things I've got to look up to.
What makes you happy as Chitimukulu?
I like dealing with the people.
The way you're dealing with us right now.
Yes, thank you. And previously we used to have some sort of you must spend time at the palace. I was born in Copperbelt, 1944. I'm 79 now. And in 1952, I had to come home. So I had to stay at the palace. See how they being taught you save what as a page boy, just to learn about chieftainship.
Did you know at that age that you were likely to take over the throne?
No, because according to my sister, the children of my sister is going in Amfumu.
Yes.
She produces Infumu. So you are born a chief. You don't become a chief when you go on the throne. To ourselves, we are born a chief. Whether you attain chieftainship or not, you are a chief. You are born a chief. So we don't care if one goes, he doesn't become a chief because he becomes a chief from people. No, he's born a chief. So from the start that you are a chief. There are even certain rituals when you are born to ensure that you know that you are a chief. You must be aware. Because, if you don't know, then you'll be, something like, when you are not sure of yourself, there's something terribly wrong. So they make sure that you know that you are a chief. That's what they instill into your mind. Even when you are playing with anybody, those boys who are playing with, they must know that you are a chief. You have the royal blood.
What is your typical day like? You wake up in the morning, you go back to bed in the evening. During the day, what does it look like to be Chitimukulu during the day? What is your day like?
It starts about 04 because I've got to enter into my prayer life. Because is dealing with such a big tribe and dealing with issues, complications, you need the guidance of God. So the first thing is I wake about 4. I have got to pray, read my Bible, then go to church because I'm a Catholic. I've got 6:30 Mass. After Mass, I have my breakfast. I open to the public about 08:30. I stay there to wait for complaints. If there are anything from the people, from my headman, that's how my day starts. If there is nothing, then I'm just at the palace doing some work. Most is writing, dealing. That's all. Then that's how the day comes in. But I do most of my writings and reading and so forth. In certain cases, I'm going to make arrangements. Say I'm going to visit certain villages, even where there are problems. Because if I find that there are problems, people come with problems, I must solve. I must go there. Because usually, they have got the answers. Me, I don't stay there. If they are complaining, I must go there. We discuss with them. Because they normally have the answers. And they must solve their own problems. So in most cases, I've got to travel to areas, discuss with if they have got problems, see how we can solve with the people. I usually don't just say if people bring complaints, just settle there at the palace. No, I say we shall come to the village. So that I see the concession, what is going on, because it's not any isolated, it affects, because as we live in a family, in the family way. So it's not a matter of, that's why when we are dealing with traditional courts, it's a matter of reconciliation. We deal with reconciliation because we are living in a society, community, where we want everyone to be free with everyone. So that's how my day, I think, starts with prayer. Then I deal with certain as the issues as they rise. If you have got meetings, I go. If you have got to visit certain areas, then I make arrangements to go and visit them.
That sounds very interesting and very, too much of work, I must say, because solving people's problems, meeting people, going to visit them is not an easy job to do. But how do you relate with people when you are probably moving in public? And you've just said that you go to mass every morning. How do people react when they see you in public?
Well, they are, we, in our culture, in different cultures, there are certain respects which they are called to a chief. So those they maintain. But I try as much as possible to be free with the people. And most of them, they are very free to be with me. I used to sit next to them, but they are, something like that. It's the way anyway, that depends the way you are brought up. But what I've seen is the criteria, I think, on behaving. Of course, there are certain, like the Ritunga, you can't see him, the Gawan, the Kazembe. But with the Bemba tradition, things are very light because a Bemba person is very difficult. When you make certain protocols difficult to see you, we can't come. So protocols are lessened other than comparing to other tribes. The protocol is lessened. For instance, anybody can see me from 8 to about 16 hours. Then we close. Anytime they can see me with anything, in any problem. They are not controlled. They can come in, go in, come in at any time if you are available. So there is protocol is lessened on that. And that, personally, I usually don't move with my retainers in order to make it easier for people's lives. Because when they, running away like that, I don't move that. And the only thing is, because I'm very sure of myself, I know that I'm a chief. Personally, I know that I'm paramount chief. I'm very powerful. So with that confidence, it does not my saying people must give me such high respect and so forth. I want it just to be with them. Of course, by themselves, they gave me respect. They give me respect and so forth.
What are your low moments, being Chitimukulu? What makes you cry about being Chitimukulu? What makes you sad?
It's the only thing, it's legacy. What am I going to leave? That's the greatest problem I have. We will remember we have got 7 before me. The only prominent one, I think, is Kanyanta, number about 30. Others haven't done a lot. Others haven't done a lot. So my task is legacy. What are the Bemba going in? What am I doing for them? What are they going to remember me for? Actually, am I leaving them in a better position than I found them? Those are the things which are always on my mind and which we are trying. I had my last time on the Ilamsia. I told them that this is an historic moment. What I meant was, if you look Northern Province, nothing more has been done. Though we have had a lot of Bemba chaps in important positions.
So your own people have failed you?
Have failed you. So what I say now, politics have failed development.
What then would work?
Tradition. Because tradition worked. Because we had what they call the colonial government, being a monarchy, they had respect for chiefs. So they said what they call was, what is now translated as local government, was native authorities. Each tribe had a native authority, where we had the power of courts, and we taxing the dogs, bicycle tax, and so forth. So we used to, in fact, what had happened was according to the records we have, the Catholic priests warned the colonialists in 1898 that the Bembas are very difficult people. So if you give them education and development, then you are going further than you came. So there was something of not so much about education.
Okay, so the Catholics pulled down on education.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church which you belong to.
Yeah, which I belong to. And one of them was even Senior Chief Mwamba, number 6. And when you look at that, where I was, we had about 13, they said elementary schools which had ended up to standard 2 or grade 4. Then you sit for an exam, you go to standard 3. So all these 12 remain. So education was minimal in Northern Province, among the Bemba. So you find now, that's why you compare. You find more educated people in Mpolokoso and Chinsari because of free church. So then in 1932, when the mines were opened, so here people had nothing to do because there was no development, nothing. So most of Bemba chaps flocked to the copper belt. That's why even today they are. When you look at census, you find that there are more Bembas on the copper belt than here in the rural areas. So then the colonial government realized that if these people flock into the towns, who are going to help the chiefs? Because we used to have Umulasa, they should work for us, our subjects. So what they did was they introduced what was called an indirect tax. Because you had an identity which was showing
where you're coming from.
Where you are coming from. So they used to extract about which was called 6 pence, 5 ingwe. The chap doesn't know that they are extracting 5 ingwe from his salary, which they used to send to Native Authority. So we had 26.5% of the population were Bemba, working in the mines and the related industries. So the Native Authority used to get a lot of money. And
to send back to you.
Yeah, and then the Tonga, because of there was what is called the grain levy. The losses had there a lot of money in 1939 because they had Wenela. Some people were sent to work in farms in South Africa, so they received a lot. But on the whole, we had a lot of money. And we had trucks and so forth. But unfortunately, they didn't invest that money in anything. They didn't know how to invest, and they were not advised. So when the black government came in UNIP, they wanted to destroy the power of the chiefs. So that's how they abolished the native authorities. And we came to be under the presidency because we used to pay our own money from our native authorities. So we came under the government and so forth. So since the native authority worked very well, that in 1958, the National Building Society to borrow money from the net treasury, from our treasury. So now what I was saying, what I was telling the Elamsha is, we must go back to try to see if traditional authorities can try to raise the living standard of the people. Because we are living with the people. We know their problems. So we are trying now to make arrangements so that we see how we can raise the living standards of the people. And that's where my primary concern now is. That's where now I'll be full-time moving in we are soliciting for some funds outside the country, so that they have been traveling to America, especially we have made a memorandum of understanding with the Native Americans, Red Indians, and I'm traveling to see how they can help us, how we can bring in the investors and so forth, to see on ourselves. Of course, we work with the government of the day. We shall say, here, we have reached, how can you help us? But mostly, I think we must take development into our own to see how the chiefs can work with the people. That's what I'm doing. I think that's where driving me for my legacy.
In the last 10 years that you have been on the throne, what is the highest moment that you can point to say this is what would define me in the last 10 years as Chitimukulu?
There's nothing so much that I can point at.
Why? Why is it like that?
Anyway, I encourage people and they talk to me, but there is nothing strange that I have done so much. That's why I'm worried about my legacy. That's why I'm now pointing that I encourage people say you are very good, but there is nothing pyramidal that outstanding that I'll point to that I've done this. No, I don't think there is something very significant that I can point to in my last 10 years.
Why is it like that? Would you say you have failed the Bemba people?
No, that's definitely. Because I haven't done well according to my caliber. But according to my caliber, what I should be, I haven't done. And
are you working towards that?
That's my challenge now. That's what now in my after 10 years, after looking at things, and there was a time I wanted to, just when I came in 1997, that's when I came, I told my paramount chief, I said, let us collect, because we have nothing, we are very poor. The Bemba chiefs are very poor. So I said, let us collect 5 kwacha from each Bemba, so that we can make an industry or something like that. But after certain thoughts, I realized I was not at the highest point where I can command. So money could be wasted. So I was afraid that if we get money from the people and then we misuse it, it won't be trouble. Anyway, this time we're not getting money from the locals. We have got promises. Anyway, I won't say there is anything that I've done in the last 10 years.
Does that break your heart?
Definitely. That's why I'm worried about my legacy. You can't just stay, because then I'll be just like an ordinary set 7 Chitimukulu, which is not good. Looking at me and my education and so forth. I write a lot, creative writing, but what if you don't put them in practice? That's my biggest worry. That's why I say I've failed the people for 10 years. Because there's nothing tangible that I've done to the people. So this is the time now I'm trying to make something tangible for the people, to raise their standard of living. Because when I look at them, we have got secondary schools, but the bases come from the Copper Belt. Timalore, St. Francis, St. Teresa, Vitikila. Bases come bring children from Copper Belt. We don't have our knock because our poverty levels are very high. So that's the thing I'm working on now.
Paramount Chief Chitimukulu, this is a very emotional, a subject that you have raised, and I could see that you are speaking from your heart with all the honesty that, that this carries. What word would you have to your subjects, the Bemba-speaking people, about maintaining a legacy that would leave the test of time for you? What word would you have for them?
It's, mostly what I've seen is most of the Bemba people don't want to come back. When they are in Lusaka, they live in Lusaka. They don't even come mostly for Kusepyapango, and very few people come. So they have abandoned their home. They have abandoned their people. So what I would say, I will appeal to the people that just come, give us knowledge. Because information is very, very key. For instance, here I am. I don't move about, I don't know what is happening. If they came to just to advise us, but usually they come when they want 1,000 hectares of land so that they can sell. They should just come and see our problems, help us to solve the problem, advise us to solve the problem, just to come back here and tell us this, if you do this, life can change for the people. What we are crying for is poverty levels are very high. The standard of living is very low. We are not taking our children to schools. There was a time I went to the university many years ago. In the third year, there was no Bemba student in the medical school, which is very, very discouraging. So that's why we have come up now with the Lubemba Academy. That school we're trying to build a school, which I even went to Malawi to see Kamuzu Academy. We want to pick up the best students who after grade 7. We take them to that institution, and then they take academic and technical, so that after grade 12 they have got something to lean on. So we want to pick up, I think we are starting next year to build and so forth. This year we shall start building this year, but I think it will open next year. We shall have the best, we have talked with certain Catholic to an institution which can help us. Because what is important is character formation. It's not only academic. We want them character formation so that they can come out of school with better characters other than just their knowledge, academic and so forth. So we are trying to, my worry is we are not getting educated. The Bembas locally are not getting educated. So that's my biggest worry.
You did mention earlier that in President Lungu's government, there were a lot of Bembas appointed, and they let you down. They didn't do much for their people back home here where we are. What hope do you have for the future appointees from the Bemba land into government? Do you think there will be hope for them to come back and give back to their people?
Until you look back into history, it's about 60 years we have been in government, and very little has been done by our Bemba politicians. What hope do I have? Anyway, there might be something, because what happened is only Mr. Kasonde, who opened a very, very good venture in Malole. There is nobody else who has followed that. So there are no industries where the boys can work, something like that. Farms where at least the younger stars can work. Because you don't expect the younger stars to own their farms. No. There must be something that can generate some income for them.
So they turn into politicians and they don't give back. In other words, you're saying you don't trust politicians. Your own people who turn into politicians. And you are a politician yourself. You did explain earlier that you came from a political background with President Sata.
Yeah, but we respect them. But perhaps there will be some outstanding who pull in. But we are looking for the future. But there isn't so much hope. The only hope is in ourselves. Because we have even started with, there is this silk there, silk problem there.
In Mpika.
And Mpika. So I brought in the manager, saying, he explained to us, so each chiefdom will have about 200 hectares of marble and silk. So we are trying to see how we can help the people. But anyway, from the from our politician, I don't see any. Anyway, from my 60 years of independence, if there will be outstanding, because the only Mr. Kasonde, and now because of the family things, down that is just now, we are trying, even I think we shall buy it or something like that, and try to see how we can develop it. It's only Mr. Musakanya, about 5,000 hectares. Nothing has been done there. He didn't do anything. Anyway, he was involved in treason and so forth. So nothing has been done. Besides that, there is nothing. GBM tried with rice. He did very well, but as soon as he became politician, nothing. When he was just a businessman, he used to do very well, hoping he even bought the meeting there. But after he turned into politics, that's nothing. So, anyway, they are our politicians. They will be representing us, but I don't expect so much until we ourselves, the chiefs, pull up our socks and then go into it. I think that's when we shall be all right.
Where do we see the dreams of Mwine Lubemba Chitimukulu in the next 10 years?
You say a lot of things. The standard of living for the Bemba will be high. We shall have a lot of educated Bembas. Already I pay for some students at the universities, and we each year send some. 2 have just gone to USA. I get some scholarships. So we have got about 4. Even my son is in there, just came for holiday. He's an engineer. He's doing engineering. So every year they give us two scholarships. So we send in students there, then come back. I also pay for some students at the universities, even at the colleges when I see there is that need. Because what worries me is you see one was good, one, but no money.
You are a creative writer. You write in the newspapers. We see your writings, and sometimes people think you are a controversial writer. Where does this come from? What inspires you to be a writer, a controversial writer at that?
I'm a free thinker. That's the biggest thing. Because I've got the talent to... a free thinker speaks what is in his mind. Because people look at what will be the reaction. No, a free thinker. Because the only thing is, I am a free thinker. I have got an open mind. And I have got to write what I see. In fact, I had a problem. Scott Awina. Because, I started following politics at a very early age in 1959 when I was doing something like Standard 6 or grade 7. So I was, so I had somebody in Ndola. They were printing African Life newspaper by Scott Awina. And then there was Central African Mail. So they used to send me at Monkonge there. I used to get them, sell them, and so forth. That's how we used to learn. Now, I knew Scott. I came to know Scott Awina after independence because I was writing to him to send me those. Then when I began to write, Scott Awina warned me. He said, yeah. Because anyway,
He warned you. We want to hear the warning. What did he say?
He says, a chief is not supposed to be like this. The definition of a chief within the Zambian context, he must be an old man, uneducated, fully involved in witchcraft. That's all.
Is that what defines a chief?
Yeah, that's how they define. They're educated. Usually they even get, that sometimes they didn't think it's me who was writing. They said somebody was writing for me. Because they can't expect a chief to anyway, a chief is not supposed to be an intellectual or something like that. He should be involved in witchcraft. An old man, an educated old man. But that's the definition. So when they see you like that, and something is not even... Because the problem we have in this country, intellectual output is low. very, very low. Very, very low. To them, when you speak some truth, because we seem to be, in fact, it was confirmed, we are on the same intellectual waveband. We think the same. Even in 1906, there was this South African Secretary General of the Communist Party, I just forget his name. He came here, he met all the political parties and the NGOs. He came to the conclusion that the only thing, sad thing is, everybody seemed to be following Chiluba's style, which was thinking. So when you don't think according to the level of line, then they say you are controversial. It's not a matter of controversy, it's a matter of seeing the truth the way you see it. You can't see truth through somebody's spectacles. It must be through your own spectacles. So that's because in most cases, I don't think according to their line. So they say I'm controversial. I'm not controversial. I just speak the truth. I write about the truth. I write about what I see. So that's the problem. In most cases, they insult you. Only that I stopped writing because of my position now. If those people are insulting me, they are insulting chieftainship. So you try to refrain and so forth. That's the problem.
Are we seeing you writing a book about, you're being, first of all, Chief Mpepo and now Chitimukulu. Are we going to see a book maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years, to talk about your thoughts?
My thoughts are very bad. So they are going to publish a book after my death.
But you have written something down?
I'm writing something.
And you wouldn't want the public to see that before you die?
No, because there are a lot of things I've written about certain people.
Which are bad?
No, which is through their character, not what they expose to the public. Hypocrites.
So that makes you controversial, doesn't it?
Is it controversial to say this one is a thief if he was stealing?
You are saying you want that book to be published after you are gone.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be confronted with the truth that you're going to write in the book?
No,
while you're still alive?
you look at the character of the people. You look at the character of the people. You look at the character, even the situation of the country.
I would want to buy that book in advance. At the moment it is out, I want to be one of the first people to read it.
But are you going to survive me? Because
right.
me, I think it's something like 2045, that's when I want to leave this world.
I want to believe I'll be there around that time.
Yeah.
And I'll come to have coffee with you.
Anyway, even when I write, I send it overseas for storage. Because I don't want a leakage here. My son can read it.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm writing something for my experience as a chief, and then to see what is the future of chieftainship. Because as it's now, there isn't a role for a chief.
It's been watered down by politics.
No, there's nothing, just nothing. Nothing. Concrete, say that this is something that the chief does, there is nothing. Nothing. Because I asked that one when I was in South Africa, SADC meeting of chiefs. I said, what's the role of a chief in a democratic society?
And what answer did you get?
Nothing. Nothing.
So
I was only blamed as usual by the people I was with. We don't want philosophers here. They bring their philosophy around. I was condemned. There are certain things, I usually don't. For instance, when they talk about early marriage, such thing, early marriage. Because when you talk about early marriage, it's not a matter of talking about early marriages. It's a matter of critically looking at what causes early marriage. Then when you look at that, then you begin to find some solution. You can't just say marriage and then you say, no, when they get pregnant, you return them to school. Those are not solutions.
What solutions do you have to that?
No. See, just looking at the situation, solution is very difficult because sex is a very difficult issue. It's a complicated issue. Sex is dangerous in the first place. So you don't have just to have so you must have what are some of the preventive measures that at least can reduce. Those are the things. So we're in South Africa. So they were talking about early marriages. So I said, until we look at something like it, our women here get womanhood at about the age of 13. And then they fail grade 6. What's the government recommended to be married now? 18 20.
And about 21.
21. In the first place, 21 does not make sense. Because a woman beauty flower love is from 16 to 20. That's when they look at their beauty. No about you marry at 21 a reiki. She's finished. Man, we must look at ourselves. Those are the things I tell them. They don't look at. Even those women who are saying, when did you get married? Is it at 14? Those who say at 21. Marriage, flowerly, is from 16 to 20. That's when they are at beauty, pyramid. That's when you enjoy to see them. At 21, then they begin to. So I say now, okay, from 13, now we've got about 9 years, 21. Now she has dropped out of school at 13. So what is he going to do? All these 9 years. Watching the stars. So until we have something that they should do that can keep them busy. Overseas, women can go up to 25 with their universities. But if you are just staying at home every day, and there is a cultural aspect attached to it. A woman is born to be married. Now if she stays on the shelf for so many. So those are the things. What are we doing, even for the boys in the villages, to keep time? They are liars, they are hypocrites. Because a teenager is a very, very delicate time. The sexual passions, everything arises. How do you prevent it? So we must look at ourselves and see. Those are the things, where usually I find they say controversial, but that's honest.
As we get to the close of this chat, how do you spend your free time?
I read very much.
What do you read?
Anything. Because to me, anything. Because, I've got a virtue which I didn't realize it was a very powerful virtue, curiosity.
You're a curious man?
Yeah. So even a paper, when I see it, I've got to read it. In the street, I pick it. Now I got to know that when I went to America, about the curiosity. There was a CIA agent, a lady. The husband didn't know she was an agent, an undercover. So when he knew, then he exposed her and they divorced. Now she was on CNN being interviewed, saying they was asking, what are the qualifications of CIA undercover besides being intelligent? She said, curiosity. Curiosity. You are curious at everything. You don't leave things. For instance, I'm seeing you now. I might forget your name, but your face will also remain there. I'll first see you, I run back, see your face, then I begin to know your name. So curiosity, I read a lot. In most cases I read, but I read about, most cases I study about, because I was a Marxist. I spent 20 years studying Marxism. I was an atheist. So until something happened that I became a Christian. So I read Bible and Christian books.
What happened? Would you like to share?
What happened? I went into detention, UPP. So, in Marxism, you usually, the theme of Marxism is people try to invent a God or something like that because they can't think properly. They think something is going to help them. But when you have got a lot of examples then, because I had to study the Bible in a negative way. And as a Marxist, because we were very serious to trying to destroy the Bible and so forth in our own thinking. So it was, I know it's hard to explain. I just woke up one day in detention. I was depressed. And then the Protestants ministers used to come on Saturday, and on Sunday the Catholic Church, the Catholic priest. Then on one Saturday, the chapel was there. Church. Ukubezira means to move aimlessly. If you want to spend some time, go to church.
Yeah.
In prison, so that you are not bored. Just get to go and board in the church. Then after 20 years, I said, let me just go there. It was a Sunday, the priest, but I said, let me go there. I just went there. I sat there, found that because I had left the church when everything was done in Latin, I found it was Bemba. All of a sudden, I think the Spirit of God touched me. I began to cry. Said, surely, Lord, they have left you. Because I was in the seminary. So that's where my change came in. So I just realized that I'd been lost. Just like that. That's how I cried the whole day. And then I began to look at the Bible. But I was failing because of my...
Marxist training.
Yeah, so then when I came out, I saw a certain priest. He said, no, this indoctrination is so difficult. So, when I was doing philosophy, I started doing philosophy. So he told me to take the books I hated most for my thesis. That's the Bible and the Kaunda's book, Letter to My Children. Because Kaunda had taken me into detention. So that's why I began to read. But the Spirit of God was trying to help me. But I'm quite different from other Christians.
How different? What makes you different?
Because I believe in the Bible.
Which you never believed in before.
And because I had to go through, as a Marxist, I must test if it's the truth.
And you tested?
I tested.
And did you find it?
Yeah, I was telling God that I'm not trying to be controversial, but I just want to know if you are there.
And you found that he's there?
He's there. That's why I read the Bible, I study the Bible, and then any other books. I read the novels. I used to read the chess, but now I can't read. Anyway, I read novels. I read every book. I've got a lot of books. I've got a lot of books. Lot of books. So I read them. You find that I've got about 1,000 books, but I've read each one of them. I've read at least each one of them. So I spend my time reading because I'm thirsty for knowledge. That's what I spend most of my time. I read up to now I'm growing old. I used to read up to midnight, but now it's 22. I go to sleep.
I did say that we were closing the interview, but you brought in one, interesting aspect. And please, with your indulgence, Your Royal Highness, allow me to ask this question. You were in detention, and President Kaunda put you in detention. Why did he detain you?
No, we were in the UPP. UPP was banned, and then a lot of people were detained.
And you were among those?
Yes.
After you came out, did you reconcile with President Kaunda?
No, he's a great man. He's a great man. I admire him. I've just been seeing him even before. I've been seeing. I think, there is some, what I was saying, teenager times are very, very dangerous. So the enthusiasm of... Anyway, I was very close even with Kapwepwe because of my strategy and so forth. And some of the things we were doing were not good. You see, when you grow old, that's when you, after going, because tension does something to you. You are alone, you have got a lot of, you don't work in detention. You are alone, you stay alone, and then you have got time to think. And it was good at the timing. The timing was the best.
Which year was this?
1982. No, I went in detention in 1971.
Okay.
Yeah. So
UPP was Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe's party.
Yes. UPP, yes. So I went at the right time, but because it gave me time to think, to come to yourself. Because normally you are just working out yourself outside, but when you are alone, that's why solitude is very, very, one should have quiet time with himself. He must know himself. So in detention, one has got time to be with himself. So at the time, I looked at my life. Usually in life you climb. You climb up to the age of 39. At 39, you must look back. What have I done? Then because 40 to 50, you're on the plateau. Then at 50, you begin to go down. Because at 50, then you know that the heart has been pumping for the last 50 years. So in normal cases, you must see a physical doctor. I did that. At 50, I went to see a physical. There are no physical doctors here in South Africa. To see now, because you are entering another phase of life. So to see what you are going to exercise. So when that time in my tension, I came to realize myself. Who am I? What have I done? Was this politics profitable? Or what was the role, my role in politics? Was it legitimate? Am I doing something very, very good for the good of the community, or what, for my own interest? Or, that's, I think, detention did me well to come to my back, to have a quiet time with myself and know myself.
Mwine Lubemba, Paramount Chief Chitimukulu, I would like to thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure learning from you. And we wish you all the very best. And we hope that your legacy will still stand strong.
Thank you very much. I've never had an interview so intense like you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and for allowing us, to come into your home. It's quite humbling.
Thank you.
Kitwe, are you listening? 105.7 FM. Culture Radio is here.
And the beat goes on.
Culture Radio.
Africa rocking. Hits and beats from Africa.
105.7 FM. Culture Radio.
What shall we do?
And the beat goes on. Africa rocking. Hits and beats from Africa.
Culture Radio.
Hey, you're missing out. Tune in to Culture Radio 105.7 FM, a culture of good radio.